Wow, so I made a lot of people mad. Just to quickly recap, I had posted about being frustrated that people don't like wave at each other when there's like stuff happening in parking lots. And that's unfortunately a bad example because my frustration is with like overall, like if I'm in the grocery store and someone is like wanting to turn in front of me, even if I got there first and I like wave them on, I feel like a lot of the time people don't even acknowledge you. It's not just about driving because obviously you have to stop for pedestrians. A lot of the comments ended up getting like really unkind and calling names. And so while I'm always up for like interesting dialogue, even debates and uncomfortable conversations, when it gets just mean and like unkind, I'm not dealing with that. And so I did take the video down because I'm like, okay, this is just, I was looking to start an interesting conversation, but it just became like just really unkind. And so I took it down. On top of that, I very clearly portrayed something different than what I was intending. Some people even were like, yeah, this is exactly how I would expect someone with Jesus in their name to act. And it's like, ooh, okay, that's telling me I definitely need to take a second look here. So between it being clear that I had done something I hadn't intended to, and I had worded it poorly and did not communicate, and in fact had done so in a way that was upsetting to a lot of people, and I was portraying the name of Jesus poorly, I'm like, all right, taking it down, let's reevaluate on both sides. So yeah, there were a bunch of rude comments that were just unnecessary, but also it was clear to me that I had not communicated well, and I had done so in a way that was upsetting to people, and that's not ever what I want to do. And I never want to portray the name of Jesus poorly. So, took it down. But what was interesting to me, no one was in the middle. People were either like, oh my gosh, thank you. Yeah, I don't know why people don't do this. Or they were like, what is wrong with you? Why are you so entitled? Why do you need other people to validate you? Which isn't what it was about. But hey, I can take a note. I have done some introspection. I will be speaking about this with my therapist tomorrow because clearly this is an area that strikes a chord for me. I think it's definitely not about feeling entitled to others' validation of my efforts. It's more, I very much try to put this effort out to make sure that I am doing all these things. Maybe that's the people pleaser in me. I don't know. So then it's frustrating to me when I feel like I'm putting out this effort and then other people don't care about being rude. And to me, as someone who has kind of been dealing with some tough stuff for the last couple years, like I'm not going to go into the details, but like it involves multiple forms of cancer, divorces, legal battles, like some tough stuff, first world problems, absolutely, but still some tough stuff. A lot of times to me, the stuff that would make the difference in literally whether I wanted to survive the day was just little bits of kindness. And so to me, it's very frustrating when there's an opportunity for someone to just show a little bit of kindness and they choose not to. Are we entitled to others' kindness? No, absolutely not. And should I get so worked up about it? No, clearly there's something there that I need to dig a little further into. But that is what it's about for me. It's not like, well, I did something kind for you, so now you have to acknowledge it and you have to validate me. Not at all, but I can totally see how it came off, especially when I made the video, like very frustrated because it had just happened, and a parking lot is probably the absolute worst example of this behavior that I'm talking about. But anyways, so yeah, I learned that people have really strong feelings about whether or not to wave in a parking lot. I would be curious about other formats. Like if you are holding the door for someone a little further away and they just like walk super slowly up to the door and just like look at you and then walk inside without acknowledging you, how do you feel in that situation? Does it change if it's not in a dynamic where there's like clearly a legal precedent established? Obviously, none of us should be running over strangers or like making them fear for their lives in a parking lot. So like I said, that's like the worst possible example. But I am really curious to know, and I do want to start a kind dialogue. If we can't be kind, I will just take the video down again. I don't care. Like we're not gonna do this like adding stress to other people's day, piling on. You don't know what someone is dealing with. So absolutely, it is fair to call people out and question them and go, here's a flaw in your thinking, but it's non-negotiable to do it kindly. That's just bare bones minimum. But But I am really curious, especially for the people who felt so strongly that like, no, I am not required to validate you or to thank you for doing something you should do anyways. For those people, what about in other settings? Is there a setting in which if someone exhibits behavior that could be culturally taken as rude to you, does it bother you or does it truly not? So notes taken. I definitely need to work on self-regulating a little bit. No, this is not the biggest problem in my life. Some of the comments were like, wow, if they feel like this is what you choose to complain about. No, I have quite a few things that are pretty weighty to complain about right now, that I'm not going to share right at this moment. No, this is by far not the biggest problem in my life. But yeah, so can definitely take some notes there, definitely doing some introspection there to figure out, okay, why does this bother me so much? Because it just does. But there are definitely other perspectives out there, and I want to be mindful of that because the world obviously doesn't just operate through my lens. It operates through many, many different lenses, and there are a ton of very different viewpoints, which is important. But yeah, so I am very curious. If you're someone who feels very strongly, or even someone who made an intense comment, shall we say, on the last video, I would love to hear from you about, does your viewpoint extend beyond the parking lot? How do you feel about people interacting in general? Do you truly believe we owe nothing to each other? I'm not going to extend kindness to you. I'm not going to spend energy on you. You don't have to spend energy on me. We owe nothing to each other. Or are there settings in which you feel like, okay, maybe it's not required, but it's, you know, reasonable to not expect, but yeah, I'm curious about the viewpoints here and where that extends to outside of the parking lot. Because like I said, parking lot was like the worst possible example. But yeah, so share your comments below kindly. Like I said, I have zero issue deleting comments, blocking people, taking the video down, even if we can't be kind about it. Share opposing viewpoints, absolutely. Call me out, absolutely. But do so in a kind way. And that note goes for myself because I was pretty intense in the last video. I wasn't like cussing anybody out or anything, but I definitely could have phrased things better and kind of like taken a minute before sharing my thoughts and maybe flesh them out a little bit more so as not to like provoke people. Some people even thought it was rage bait, which it very much wasn't. I don't believe in posting rage bait. But yeah, clearly there was some stuff there I could have done differently, but just like for me, I'm setting the tone, trying to set the tone with myself and my own actions for the content that I post. So absolutely share your viewpoints, share your opposing viewpoints, but do so in a kind way, or we're not going to have a conversation. I actually genuinely hope you have a great day. Okay, bye.